ain't gonna give in now. I just gotta live this now. I'm gonna be man, I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go take it to town, cause I gotta be that king in the ring when I'm knocking them out when I'm back with the will. Cause I am just off on the journey, just know that I'm just going insane.
Warriors, rise. Hey, what's up, Warriors? It's Coach JV and Ray, the legend. I've been waiting for this interview for a very, very long time.
Not as long as me, Coach.
It's freaking beautiful to be here, man. It's an amazing thing. So I want to introduce Ray, and then what I'm going to do is kick it over to him to give a brief introduction of himself. But Ray is actually not only a part of Linqto, but he's one of the top investors in Linqto on their platform, which is really important. I like to deal with people who are putting their money where their mouth is. And as we go through this presentation, I want you to think of why you got into cryptocurrency, why you got into investing. And a lot of you guys are working to democratize yourself from the financial system, not go against the system, but democratize yourself from the system, right? A lot of us got into cryptocurrency because we wanted to build our own sovereign platforms, build our own investments. And it's been the greatest time in human history for a lot of us who understand what's actually happening within our communities, right? We went from going to a traditional bank to fintech coming in, and a lot of these offshoots of banking systems building out through the cryptocurrency space, blockchain. But Linqto is revolutionizing private investing. So if you think about it for just a moment, to get into these big investments or pre-IPOs, you had to be part of a secret club or a boys club, or you had to have a certain level of financial wealth, right, to get access to this type of stuff. This really shows you where we're going. And Linqto went out in front of the pack and started to democratize private financing. So as we talk through this, I want you to start to think as an accredited investor. Many people reach out to me and say, well, I'm not an accredited investor. Well, remember, Warriors, remember, I was on my mom's couch 3 years ago with zero money. And I told you guys that I was going to get up off the couch. I was going to get my shit together, and I was going to build generational wealth. And I took you through the process, whether you made fun of me or whether you followed me. I started flipping vacuums. I did the Gary Vee strategy. I started flipping things free off of Facebook, went from $10 to $20 to 30 to 10 to 100, whatever, 100K, whatever. And we'll stop there where we're at now. Now I have equity in 9 companies now. I'm building generational wealth for my family. And the reason why is because I didn't say things like, well, I'm not an accredited investor. What I did was, as I opened up my ears, I stopped talking for a moment and I started to listen. So I want you to really listen to what companies like this are doing. This is revolutionary, life-changing, historical stuff happening right now. And I've been waiting for this interview for a very, very long time. And we at the Warrior Academy are very, very diligent on who we work with. If you know, you don't hear us talking about cryptocurrency projects. We don't pump coins. We don't do any of that stuff because we're very diligent on who we bring onto our channel, number one. Number two, who we bring into our academy and allow people to talk to our warriors, because it's all about integrity, honesty, and uncompromising belief. And I know that Linqto believes that democratizing private financing, giving people access to these amazing investments is very important. So just do a brief introduction, Ray. Tell us a little bit about yourself personally and professionally.
Wonderful. Well, Coach, before I begin, I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to join you on this stage. It's a pretty surreal moment for me because, as you mentioned, your journey into this space, flashback 2 years ago, I was watching your productions and tuning into your regular productions. And here we are, fast forward, I get to not only represent Linqto, a company that I'm extremely passionate about, because it just represents not just, the problems that we're solving, but also my personal growth as well into this community, into this space, and right here under this on the stage with you. So thank you so much. Again, to our audience that's out there watching, I was in the same boat not too long ago. So anything can happen with opportunity, some grit, and like you just said, just taking a step back and just listening. Because there's of course a lot more smarter people out there than me, and so it's just taking some advice and making your own decisions, aka doing your own research and coming to your own decision. My name is Ray Fuentes. I'm the community director at Linqto. I've come to know and love Linqto as a customer. As you mentioned, Coach, I'm a Team Apollo member, top 20th percentile investors on the platform. I've been working as the community director at Linqto for the past 8 months. I've been a customer investor on the platform for a little over a year now. It's been a wonderful journey. We've got some amazing people on our team, but the platform product Linqto itself is extraordinary. Linqto is a platform, an investing platform with a zero fee solution, enabling accredited investors and now institutional investors with access to the world's top performing private companies. So in other words, we're the bridge between accredited investors, retail investors, and high quality, top performing private market investment opportunities. On our platform, Coach, I mean, you know what's on our platform, but we've got some top quality companies, some very interesting companies from their sectors, which include ourselves, Linqto. You can invest in ourselves on the platform. We've got Zipline, Whoop, Ripple. I'm sure that rings a bell for you, Coach.
Yep.
And as I'm speaking to you, sir, I'm looking at your warrior helmet to the left of you. I've got mine right up here in the office as well from our presentation. But yeah, back to the products on our platform. Originally on our platform, Coach, which got us to this point, is the private companies, or were private companies before going public, is Coinbase, Robinhood, Marqeta, SoFi. I mean, we've experienced 6 successful exits since the launch of our platform. And since the launch of our platform, Coach, we've made about 45 investments. And every single investment, we're using our own capital. And so we're not a broker like our competitors. We're a principal. So that means we go out to the marketplace after doing our due diligence, of course, and we make investments into these private companies using our own capital. And we've made 45 investments to date, each one using our own capital, so that this way the end customer, our Linqto members, can experience that point, click, and invest process on our platform. And that's truthfully a fundamentally big difference to the business model for the pre-existing business model for the private securities asset class. So that's just one thing. That's just the getting access to the platform. But then we're also assisting our members to diversify within the space as well. I mean, I could keep going if
no, yeah, I want to point out a few things that you talked about. Number one is you're seeing in the comments here, people are like, hey, listen, I tweeted Ray. I sent a message on Twitter. He's a real guy. That's what attracts me to Linqto, is the integrity and honesty within this company, is the fact that they have real people working for them. And what I mean by that is real down to earth people, right? You're a family man. You're out there practicing what you preach. And this is what I love about Linqto, is they put their money where their mouth is, right? They're going out and getting the investments for you. They're not a broker. They're not going out there and trying to make commission fees off of trying to get, to go through this loophole process, but they're putting their money where their mouth is, their own capital, get these investments. So how do you guys source those investments? I'm interested in that process as you go into this new realm. Well, the one thing that's important for people to understand is like this type of stuff was the whole cryptocurrency space, number one, the ICO space, right? So IPO, let's explain what ICO and IPO is different. So this is why the SEC is panicking right now. They're going after Ripple, is because normal everyday people with $10 to $100 in their account to $1,000 or 10,000 could go in and get into initial coin offering, which gave them access to a very low entry point to something that could appreciate pretty heavily. Now, an IPO, that's initial public offering, which is on the stock side, right? It's a company. So you're getting in early. Can you walk us through, like, if people don't know what an IPO is and where the money is usually made?
Yeah. Well, IPO is being a liquidity event for some of these companies. What Linqto focuses on and is found to be the breadwinner of the private securities asset class is the private equity of these, or the equity of these private companies. So we have an originations team. And let me take a step back, Coach. Our team, we have 60 passionate Linqto team members on staff. And, so we have a team in the marketing team and sales team. We've got teams, of course, in the C-suite, but we have a dedicated team, the originations team, that they do their due diligence. They go out to the marketplace. They're looking at these private companies' revenues, their earning paths, their competitive landscape, the management team, of course. So then they take all that information plus the platforms that we have subscriptions to, that the big, large institutional players have. Take that information along with pricing of these shares, is there trading volume around those specific shares on of these companies. Then we make an educated investment decision. But we don't stop there, Coach. We also take that information and pass it along to the end customer so that they as well can make an educated investment right alongside of Linqto on our beloved Linqto platform. So it's we're all about financial literacy, women empowerment. We've got some really great campaigns and initiatives going on right now as we speak. Even for instance, we've got. Comparing ourselves to our competitors, a typical investment fund, you're locking up your capital for, let's just say, at least 10 years. The investment to even access these types of caliber of investment opportunities is a minimum investment around $1 million. Through special aggregation arrangements, you could potentially get into the ballpark of 110,000 to 250. But regardless, at the end of the day, on Linqto's platform, the minimum investment is 10,000. So where I was getting at is today specifically, we actually have an initiative where we've lowered the minimum investment threshold from 10,000 to 5,000 on 2 particular products on the platform, and that's going to be Block Daemon and Uphold. So if for any of those first-time investors that may be tuning in today, we're actually sweetening up that deal. If you invest in both 5,000 each for a total of 10, we're giving back $1,000 in Linqto bucks to use towards the next investment. It's so funny. Hey, Coach, real quick, I see a comment come across the screen here. You mentioned earlier that Linqto is about family vibes. I'm looking at my sister put up a little tweet across.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah, that's your sister. What's up? Women empowerment.
To your point, not only are we the family vibes run deep at Linqto, especially in my life. I invited my family to participate or at least watch. And real quick before I lose this train of thought, coaches, it's funny. My dad went to almost every single one of my baseball games since I was in Little League, all the way to college. And now here we are. My mom is the one who's now watching and participating and following me through this new journey and these experiences. So it's just great. And it's great to see Tali on there. Love you mucho, guys. Thank you.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So one thing I want to talk about too, one of the biggest things that I get, on TikTok, we have 1 million followers worldwide. And when I talk about Linqto and how much I love Linqto, people are like, I'm not an accredited investor. Well, one of the things that's very powerful that I always recommend people take a look at is market insights, right? Because what I learned when I was, I'm sitting on my mom's couch, I'm looking up at this popcorn ceiling. I've lost all my money for the 3rd time. And I said to myself, man, I got to think about this for a moment. Why do I keep losing all my money? Obviously, there was an indoctrination that was in my subconscious mind. And that goes into what you're talking about. For such a long time, and I'm very passionate about this, for such a long time, only certain people had access to stuff like this. And then as I started to raise my business acumen, my investment acumen by studying books like Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon, studying the cash flow quadrant, I realized that there was a different way of thinking that we all have access to, right? So as we go through this, and I started to look at things like how you guys do the market insights, like how do they value a company? And so how do you guys, so number one, market insights is powerful. Thank you for that, because I forget what the score is actually called. You give some sort of, there's a score that, what's it called? Mosaic score. So there's a mosaic score that they give to a company. And based on, is that how you guys find your investments for the platform?
No. So, it's a supporting factor on getting data points on these specific private companies. So the market insights, AKA CB Insights, is a resource that we utilize, and then we also open up to our member base to access as well. And the CB Insights is a aggregator of data, or basically pulls data on these private companies. And that data includes funding rounds, tech news, valuations, the information or rich insights on not just the management team, but the key investors. So you're looking at some of the wealthiest funds and watching their money moves as well, to try and copy those same moves. We're not recreating the wheel here, sir. We maybe the platform itself, but the overall process, we're still staying tried and true.
Well, that's what I want to ask you next. So what differentiates you from your competitors in the marketplace?
Well, as previously mentioned, Coach, obviously the minimum investment is a big differentiation. $1 million ticket versus $5,000 being locked up for potentially 10 years. We don't have a statutory limit or a time element for how long your capital is locked up on the platform. However, when you invest on our platform, you are waiting for that company that you invest in to exercise, a liquidity event, an IPO, initial public offering. So that's why you can get ahead of that J curve. But soon in Q4 of this year, we're going to be launching what's called our ATS platform, our alternative trading system, which is going to allow our Linqto members, our customers, to now buy, sell, swap their SPV units, their equities amongst themselves. So no longer do they have to wait, for that company they invested in to exercise a liquidity event. They're going to have real-time access to liquidity when they can sell or swap to another member on the platform. So that's another fundamental, huge game changer to the pre-existing business model. And so these are initiatives that I'm so stoked to be a part of, and I'm thrilled. Coach, real quick, we launched our platform in 2020. We've grown our member base to about 55,000 plus.
Wow.
From there, we've generated 140 million transactions across 110 countries. And so we wouldn't have been able to do any of this if it, as mentioned, wasn't for our 60 passionate Linqto team members, and including yourself, sir.
Yep.
You're one of the heavy hitters on our squad, and we're going to be more thrilled to partner with you, sir. So, I just want to say and make sure you know, I love you mucho.
I love to. That's in our Warrior Academy. It's very important. We only practice what we preach in regards to that. That's what I love about this company, putting their money where their mouth is. Ray sitting here right now is one of their top investors on the platform, democratizing private financing. And that's what we love about this whole space, is a space change. Well, I want to ask you some questions a little bit outside of Linqto, if that's okay, around where do you think the markets are going? I mean, we're in this interesting space. We're both deep in it. I'm at it from the investigation side. So what's my skill set? 8 to 9 hours a day investigating. I have a banking degree, right? I don't look like a banker, but I definitely used to be a banker, and I understand I understand the markets very, very well in regards to how banks need to move into blockchain technology. Where do you see the markets going with investment in general? We had Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan launch their first trade on blockchain yesterday. Where do you see the markets going?
I mean, I think you and I both have a really good idea of where the market's going as far as the adoption of these underlying technologies. But I still feel like we may be trending towards a bearish, still going in a bearish trend. But honestly, I wouldn't let that deter anybody from investing. I mean, Warren Buffett, Jack Bogle, some really big key investors know that, or find out that value investing is something you can't pass up. Recession, bear market investing is not a trend, but actually an achieved process. This is something that people are following to a T. So to the point of your question is, I still think we're going to a bearish market, but ultimately this is a buying time. I tuned into your production yesterday with Ken Mack, and man, you guys are brilliant. And so but ultimately one of the morals of your conversations was, when there's blood on the streets, that's when it's the perfect buying opportunity. So Linqto, we're looking at these same fundamentals. We're taking advantage of these current market conditions so we can lock in those future gains. I mean, we're all about making instant gains now, but also we're planning for the future, for longevity of the company and growing our overall portfolios. So and that trickles down to at least my philosophy.
God, so important what you just talked about, because people think like there will never be a time like this. I have chills all over my body because when I say this every time, there'll never be a time like this in our human history, in our living history. My son is 6 and my daughter is 18. Not even in their living history will there be a moment like this where there's a social, geopolitical, economic change like we're having right now. And the opportunity, which sounds really grim to say, in a depression or a recession, is where all the opportunity is. And if people can really change their frame of mind and understand that, forget about what's happening in the physical world, not the pain and all this stuff happening, but if you can really understand that these are opportunities, and then really diving into things like market insights and understanding how to value a company or look at a company, which is really important. So I want to ask you a question around that is, how do you guys, like, for example, what type of companies do you actually look for? Like, for example, when I'm looking at cryptocurrencies, I look at the leadership team, the marketing team, the real world solve, the utility. What type of companies do you guys look for on Linqto?
I mean, to your point, we're looking at those same fundamentals, Coach. And not only are we, looking and getting granular through thanks to our originations team, our C-suite team, but also because we're looking at I mean, specifically, we're focusing on companies that fit that unicorn status or that have a high potential for unicorn status.
Mhm.
And for our audience members that might not know what a unicorn is, it's just another cute word for saying or recognizing a company that has a valuation of $1 billion or greater. So we're looking at companies that fit that criterion, that are also, we're not particularly focused on investing in seed funding rounds or, startups. We're looking at late stage startups in their Series C to Series F funding rounds. That seems to be our sweet spot. This is a risk on investment play, but by the homework and due diligence and the focus that we're targeting, that eliminates and reduces some of those friction points and opportunities for a downturn in portfolio. I mean, we're looking for longevity, as mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. So I got a question for you. So what is it like being part of it? So I run a company like this, and so I'm patting myself on the back. But we're a frontier type company. I mean, we're blazing trails. We're doing stuff that people thought wasn't possible, right? Everybody told me it wasn't possible. We did it. So you're part of a company that's blazing a trail. What is it like to be part of a team of 60 people that are blazing a trail, democratizing private finance? I mean, what's the feeling and vibe? I mean, people in here are talking about how they love your vibe, and we love your vibe. I mean, it's so enjoyable to talk to you guys. Enjoyable to everybody in our community loves you guys. So what does it feel like to be part of a frontier type company like that?
For me, it seems like something that I've been waiting for my whole life. It's incredible to be a part of, a team that's, one, as accomplished as they are, and then two, just to be a part of an organization that's really changing the landscape for, the private security space, and potentially for even greater. I mean, there's ripple effects that occur from one industry to the next. So look, it's only the beginning. So
Yeah.
for me, it's as mentioned, it's a surreal moment for me to be here on this stage with you, and it's just a very empowering and wonderful vibe being a part of Linqto. I mean, the reason why I'm here at Linqto is because of the community that's been created around Linqto. As mentioned, I came to know and love Linqto as a customer. Through being a Team Apollo member, we have access to the Telegram invite-only VIP group chat. So since March of last year, through the heart of COVID, basically, where everyone's locked up or running out and getting toilet paper, I'm at home buying a Nano Ledger, decent hardware wallets, EliPal. I'm playing with all these various hot storage wallets and sending Bitcoin here, Ethereum there, Cardano, VeChain, and just on KuCoin, on Bitfinex, just trying everything, sir. And so throughout all those, unknowingly throughout all that experimental phase, I started seeing, just which processors or protocols worked a little bit better than others. And so then I came to know and love not just Linqto, but before Linqto was, the XRP Ripple community. And it was just great following the Bearable Bull, following Digital Asset Investor, Brad Kimes, James Rule, Blockchain Backer. I mean, it's just it's been just and now to even work with you guys for the greater good of the space and Linqto has just been phenomenal. So I as well, you can't see the chills on my arms because I've got sleeves on, but
let's unpack that a little bit, because let's go into some leadership conversation with everybody. You said something very powerful that we can't let just go across, right? So both of us did the same thing. Could have been the worst times in human history for some people. We get shut down with this beer virus, right? Everybody looks this way. Everybody's buying toilet. I laughed because I bought toilet paper on the black market for my gym. I could not believe it. We were buying it out of the back of the gym. It was wild. So everybody's buying toilet paper, and we were in this moment in time, just like you, like everybody's panicking. And gym owners, we own a gym next door, and so gym owners were protesting on the Capitol steps, and I was like, I have two choices. I can go waste my time and protest and go against something that's much bigger than me. I'll let God handle that. What we're going to do is we're going to get our shit together. And what we did is we turned on our Zoom. We turned on our cameras and we just started helping people online. That's what we did. So we took an opportunity, just like everybody should be doing with the greatest recession and depression coming right now, and we turned it into one of the greatest times in human history. And because of that, now we have had over 5,000 warriors worldwide, 21 different countries, and you did the exact same thing. And everybody's freaking out and panicking, and instead you dove into something like self-development, understanding and learning and growing. And this is such an important thing that we can't just mull over what you said, because even if you have 10 bucks in your account or $10 million in your account, you should always be learning. Because imagine, I always say to people, okay, what if they wiped out the grid and all of us were back at zero? Who's going to be in the best position? The ones that are sitting on their ass, just worrying about what the news is doing, complaining about this or that or left or right, or the person who studied and methodically learned new skills, right? And started to understand the markets and understand how the elites are doing things, or however they're positioning this. If we're all at an even playing field, it's going to be the one who put their focus in a higher consciousness, whatever you believe in. I believe in God. Put their focus in a higher consciousness and studied. And it's so important. This is a type of stuff I like to talk about, because it's like, that's why you're sitting here with Linqto, because you took decisive action. You're like, here's where I want to be. Here's the things that I'm studying. And I feel like for your vibe that things come to you easily and frequently now, just like this. It seems like, Ray, you just like, people keep saying this, his vibe is awesome. And so it's really important that people understand what I've seen with your growth. It's frequency, man. Everybody I talk to about Ray, I love Ray. The word love is I love Ray. This is really important lesson for people to understand. Let's take the business part about frequency is going to be so important as we move. And so I'm going to ask you a personal question. How do you keep your frequency so high, man?
Really, really good question. I feel like I've been asked that I've had a really wonderful opportunity of having dinner with DAI and Brad Kimes for Linqto events. And Raymond, why? And I feel like I'm speaking in Brad Kimes' voice. Why are you so happy all the time? And and they kept asking me, to the point like as if I was hiding something, or and really it's, without getting choked up. My family's in good. It's got good health. My parents are still alive. I'm married with a beautiful daughter, and she's 14 months old. My wife's beautiful. We've got, the family within arm's reach, and I get to now hang out with you in this type of setting. I'm looking, why I keep looking over here is I'm looking at my equipment. I've got all I'm using to make the production for these, maybe I shouldn't be, a magician shouldn't be telling his secrets, but honestly, Coach, it's like, if I can do this, anyone else can, because the production that I'm using. Yeah.
I just got a microphone and a computer right here. Everybody thinks I have a studio. I love it.
My microphone and with the Linqto logo on here. I don't know if you can see it. It's not on here. But
That's
anyway.
so cool. Dude, I love you, brother. No, this is so cool. I love it because everybody, like, for example, we've grown and we have a headquarters now and stuff. But dude, I still roll around with a laptop and a computer. Everybody's like, it's like, I'm like, guys, can we set up the studio? Just throw the helmet up there, man. Like it's about the information and the frequency and all that stuff. And I just want to, as we wrap this up, I just want to say I'm grateful to not only, be in the realm with you guys of bringing this information to people. I also want to share with people too, it's one of the biggest comments I get, but they get frustrated because they're not an accredited investor. Instead of getting frustrated, understand what it takes to be an accredited investor and set that as your goal. Set it as your goal. Don't sit there and say, I'm not an accredited investor. I will be an accredited investor. I am an accredited investor, and understand the level of frequency it takes, and then reverse engineer the activities. That's what I did. So I started looking at people who were in that position, and I started reverse engineering the activities, and I just started to copy them. That's what I did. I literally copied, I plagiarized their activities until I built my own. And now I have my own systems and processes that I use. So that's what I hope people can get from this is, number one, frequency. Number two is you work for a company that's democratizing private financing and blazing a trail. Very few people are doing what you guys. And number three is the fact that during the worst situation that we probably will experience, most of us ended up becoming one of the best situations. I have dear friends like you. I have people all over the world now, friends that we can travel. And to understand that you said something very powerful as well. And I know this isn't involved with investments, but you talked about your beautiful wife, your beautiful daughter, your family. And that's what's most important here, guys, is as we grow these communities, is we need to come together as companies, even if we're a competition, as companies coming together. That's why, we got BitBoy Crypto coming on our channel next week. We got we're all about growing together. And if we can lock arm in arm and we can raise our frequency together, whatever the 1% are doing, I don't really give a shit what they're doing. But what I do know is they cooperate way better than we do. They cooperate way better than we do. And if we can all come together and, whether you're left, whether you're right, whether you're Church of Latter-day Saints, Catholic, Buddhist, whatever, just be love, right? And that's what I get from you, Ray. So I just want to say our community loves you guys. We love Linqto. We just love the vibration and frequency, and everybody's just such amazing comments. So wrap us up, man. I want you to motivate the people. So if this was your motivation speech or acceptance speech, what would you say to the people, man?
Oh man, that's tough, Coach.
I had to make you uncomfortable, man.
Yeah, honestly, if I can do it, anyone can. Similar to you, Coach, you talk about the popcorn ceilings and growing up on or not growing up, but being caught in a moment where you were on your mom's couch. I mean, I wasn't on my mom or dad's couch, but I had a little chapter in life where in college I only had the room that I occupied was a converted laundry room. It was no bigger. It was no bigger than it only fit literally a queen mattress, and then I put a hanger rack for clothes. But it was like a running joke for all my roommates because I had like the Cinderella room. But ultimately, I made a point that I would never. I would only that was the lowest point that I would ever be in, or the smallest room that I would ever be in, and that from every place that I got would only get bigger. So maybe to the point of where the reason why we were able to just shut out the noise is because we've kind of been tested in other ways beforehand. And so maybe that's why we've got that we're wired a little bit differently than we once were, or we've got the little extra grit that pushes us to really do that, or to do a further deep dive, or to take the extra time to help a friend out. So, there could be a lot of things, but ultimately, if I can do it, anybody can. I'm no special than anybody. And all I can say is just, similar to what my mom always said, and now I say to my daughter is, nice people like to hear nice things. Do good, and good things will come to you. And honestly, if you just take the time to listen and do good, you'd be just surprised what the universe brings to you. So I think the universe has been thankfully really good to me lately. I guess, just leave it at that. It's been wonderful. I'm excited. I'm working harder than ever. So one thing that I didn't touch base on, Coach, is running a company or working on a team that's running a ship that we're running is, I'm working around the clock 24/7, 365, as if I were the CEO, or this was my ship. It's not, absolutely not. I'm the community director of Linqto, but ultimately a lot of the people on our team have that same mindset, and we're fortunate, and that's what's really pushing the needle on our growth and productivity. So all it is just keep grinding, don't give up, and you'll be almost like where you feel at that point where you are. It's like the universe just opens up the next chapter, and then so that's all I can say, Coach.
No, that's great. And I love to unpack things. There's certain points that we really need to hone in on. Is, you're sitting in that position where you're in that, little box, right? And you said to yourself, you made a conscious decision that I will never live in this. That's the key to what I got from that is once you make that conscious decision, your reticular activating system picks that up and it says, okay, we are going to give you what you want. And as long as you hold on to that frequency for a long enough period of time, you'll start to align with the things that you are vibrating within your internal, whatever you want to call it, universe, God, omnipresence, right? Pray with discernment. We can unpack that thing if people want to at all different levels. But the fact is, be a good human, take care of your family, be around good people, surround yourself with a community, help each other, right? Let's not tear each other down. Let's lift each other up, and let's all take decisive action to be the greatest of all time within our paradigm. Love you, Ray. We appreciate you. And as we always say, warriors, get your shit together. Let's go.
Thanks, Coach. Love you.